Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Anxiety Warriors podcast. We are your hosts, Margot
and Abby. We are friends, teachers, and storytellers, but above all, we're anxiety warriors on a mission to raise awareness and understanding about anxiety and mental health.
You will hear honest, engaging, and joyful stories from us and many other anxiety warriors about living with anxiety. If you're seeking a space to laugh, connect, feel inspired and empowered, and learn valuable tips rooted in mindfulness and more, your warrior community is here for you.
Join us as we navigate this journey of life together.
Welcome, warriors.
Yay!
Yay! It's time for another episode, your next installment of Anxiety Diaries.
Nice.
That was it, right?
No, it is. I
Okay.
didn't know if I was supposed to like sing it back to you or echo.
I thought that we've done it like that.
We haven't really figured out the full sting since it's
yeah. This is only our third Anxiety Diaries episode, right?
I thought it was our second Anxiety Diaries.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Well,
I think this is our third. I wouldn't bet on it, but
okay.
I'm pretty sure. I feel semi-confident. I don't know.
All right. Well, if in case it's our second, do you want to remind everyone what it is? And if
100%.
it's our third, the expectation is they should already know.
They should already know, but that's okay in case you're new here, right?
Right.
So Anxiety Diaries is basically like a topic-free conversation where Abby and I just share some recent anxieties that have popped up. Maybe they're related to some of our former topics. Maybe they're brand new. Regardless, we're kind of just like dropping into this conversation with a kind of free-flowing energy to just kind of say what's on our minds and what's been keeping us anxious these days.
Yeah. Nailed it.
Here we go. Boom.
Well,
so Abby, yeah.
Yeah. Don't you want to go first on this one? This is like,
I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you if you wanted to collab.
I'd love a collab.
Collab? Collab. Let's collab. Let's totally collab. I love your work. I love your podcast. Let's collab. I love your book.
Collab? Oh my God. I've listened to an episode and it's so good. Can we collab? I'm like, oh yeah, which episode did you listen to? What did you like about it? Anyway.
What was your favorite part? Yeah. We both feel spicy in different ways about this topic. I won't even call it a topic, about this situation.
Right. This is Margot's. I have my own feelings, but this is not my anxiety diary.
I mean, the briefest version, warriors, is that more and more over the last couple of years, I've been receiving. Actually, you know what? I won't even say that the messages are different. That I just feel differently about them. When I first kind of really committed to, like, say, my Instagram page or whatever, I was super ready and eager and willing to like get messages from random people that I'd never met or even had a conversation with that just said, I love this or I love that. Let's collab. Let's work together. Let's support each other, blah, blah, blah. And like in the early days and months and years even, I was like, cool, this is awesome. A person's reached out. They're looking to connect. They like me or my work or the things I'm putting out. Great. And so sometimes we would go forth and do a collab, whether it was a giveaway or some kind of a tit for tat, like, hey, you give me one of your products and I'll give you one of mine type situation, like a swap or whatever. And then it was like, oh, I have a show. Maybe you be a guest on my show. I'll be a guest on your show. It's so many different things, right? Over the course of the last few years. But in the last year, I don't know if it's just because of where I'm at in my life. And I can acknowledge that like it could be a me thing, but regardless, I'm on the receiving end of a lot of random messages from total strangers asking for me to quote unquote collab with them. And where my anxiety comes in is so many layers. So the first one is, do I respond? If I don't respond, even if I don't know this person or like them or want them to like me, will I be disliked by them? Do they care about my response? Mm-hmm. Do I respond with just like a no? If I want to say no, then I'm overthinking about how I'm crafting my message back. What does my email sound like? What does my DM sound like? I'm running it through my own mind. I'm sharing it with you or Adam or whatever. Like, does this come off too boundary? Does this sound bitchy? And the other part of my anxiety comes with the way I feel about receiving the message, because it feels audacious to me. And so somebody reaching out to a total stranger is audacious, right? Regardless. And like I've reached out to people on Instagram or whatever, and it takes guts. So like I can acknowledge that like, hey, it takes a courageous person to reach out to strangers, especially if you have anxiety, just for the sake of trying it. And you never know, maybe they're interested. Cool. I've had a lot of wonderful experiences where I reached out to someone cold or blind and they responded in kind, really with openness, with curiosity, with the willingness, all the things. But ultimately, what changes in my mind is the approach. So,
Mm.
like, I never just reach out to someone that I have not interacted with on multiple occasions, even if it's just through Instagram. And so, where I struggle in my mind is, am I impressed by this person's audacity or am I annoyed by it? And it used to be a mix, like a 50-50. I'm impressed and I'm annoyed. And now I'm just annoyed because it's been feeling like the requests are uneven.
Yeah.
Like, give me X amount of, books, and I will give you this one other thing. And that thing is not tantamount to the amount of my books.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, good for you for being courageous and reaching out with that request. But also, who the fuck do you think you are?
Yeah.
Right. And so I found that it's no longer a 50-50 in my head. But then I'm like, am I ostracizing people? By saying no, am I doing something that's going to harm my book sales or my career or whatever? And I know that a lot of that's irrational thinking
Yeah.
and most of it not true, if not all of it not true. But that's still sort of like the framework, all the wheels in my mind. So it goes to like, am I responding? How am I responding? How is that person taking my response? Do they care? Do they not care? Whatever. But then I'm like, I've allowed this person or their request or both to live in my head, to
Mm.
live rent free up here in my mind, which is precious time, right? To be able to do a
Yeah.
million things in a day, in a week, in a month, in a year, whatever. And so, but then it's like, even if I ultimately reject a person's offer with as much kindness and respect and boundaries as I can, while also being open and whatever, um, if I don't hear back or whatever, then have I fucked something up? Did I do something wrong? And so it's just a matter of like continuously reminding myself that I'm not doing anything wrong by holding a boundary or respecting the, sanctity of like my book, or whatever the request is, right? Um, so like, hey, I won't charge you for this thing if you come to an event for free at my space. It's like, okay, and we can all receive those messages and make decisions, right? What feels good, what may actually bolster me in the future. And we make those strategic decisions. And it's true that you're not going to necessarily get those opportunities if you don't have audacity, right? And so, like, I can see it from both ends of the spectrum, but all I'm saying is that the sheer, like, I don't know, volume, I guess, of people reaching out to me in recent months has felt overwhelming.
Right.
And I kind of like, it's like, I don't want it to stop to some extent because it's like, oh, am I irrelevant and uninteresting? And then the other part of me is like, please fucking stop. Like, if
Oh,
I want you, I reach out to you. But then it's like, yeah. So there's so many layers. I know I just dumped a fuck ton on top of you, but like, that's where my collab anxiety has been in
yeah.
recent times.
Well, I mean, part of the problem is that with social media, um, and with us having our phones, right? It's like people can always like reach out to us, right? They can always contact us. We're like technically always available. But like if you just had a store, right? You wouldn't have this onslaught of people walking into your store for collabs, right? And so it's like no one's really taught us like how do you instill boundaries on something like social media where there are no boundaries? People can message you anytime,
It's
right?
true.
You can check your messages anytime. It's not like you can only see who's reaching out to you when you go into your store,
Yeah.
right? Like so there's like that like I don't know, accessibility or availability or something that's like always there. Um, and to me, like anytime you've shared anything with me, it just feels exhausting. And it's exhausting enough in my mind to always be creating free content for people, which has also never been a thing until, the last decade.
Yeah.
Um, but then also just people expecting stuff, and it's not collaboration.
Right. That's it.
They're using the
That's
wrong
it.
word.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're not even, some of them are very explicit, and at least I appreciate the explicit nature of their request, right? And then others literally just says, let's collab. And I'm like, well, what the fuck does that mean? Like, you just started following me 20 minutes ago and you want to collab? Like, it'll be like another kids yoga teacher or a kids yoga company in some corner of the world. And like, cool, let's, okay, maybe I follow you back or whatever. But like, what do you mean by, be more specific as to what you want? Because then the other part of me is like, I can't acknowledge every time somebody says just a blanket, quick, let's collab. That's just not, you're not actually asking me for anything then. It's like,
No.
now you're just asking me to pay attention to you
Yeah.
and what, ask you what you want to do in terms of a collaboration. Then why is the onus on me? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If there's something specific you want, ask for it at the very least. Be specific about what you are requesting from a person.
I mean, this goes back to our other talk with like first impressions. And
Yeah,
the thing is that like you're not getting a really solid vibe of these people at all when they're just randomly DMing you. Like Instagram, like there's a lot of times where like kids yoga teachers or mindfulness teachers or whatever will follow me and I won't follow them back because for a period of
same.
time there was people that would follow you just to get a follow and then they would unfollow you. Like there's so much manipulation, there's so much like people just trying to get likes or get followers or get that like
Yeah,
I trust a lot of the stuff. And then there's the people that just like copy and paste their messages to everyone and it's not even
true.
individualized and again, it's not collaboration, it's what can I get from you.
Yeah.
And because we're in this like consumption of just free stuff all the time, like people feel like they deserve free shit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And we've talked about like the anxiety of being a small business too. And it's like people don't have the audacity to ask big ass companies for free shit. I mean, some of them might, but like you don't see someone like walking into a suit store and being like, this is a great suit. I would like it 50% off, please. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Do you see a sign anywhere that says it's 50% off? Meanwhile, like people are just like, oh, well, I'm local or I'm this or let's barter. It's like not everything should be a barter. You should just want to support me because you want to support me. And if what you're selling or servicing or whatever supports me, then maybe I'll purchase back. But like just under like the tit for tat situation, it feels so much more fucking anxiety producing and stressful. Cause then I'm like, am I harming another small business by not accepting a collaboration? Or am I standing firm in a boundary that feels right and safe for me and my business? Like it's just all the overthinking that
And with the suit
unfortunately I'm still
store, they're
dealing with.
not they're not going to be like, I'll take a picture and tag you. Right? The suit store is going to be like, I don't care about your picture.
Yeah.
Right? I don't care about that tag. Right? But
And
then
you'd have to have millions of followers for me to entertain that, or thousands upon thousands at that point. It's
right.
like, don't come to me with 2,000 followers, which is less than I have. Not that followers mean shit necessarily, but like, you want to share a post of mine to your stories for something back in return. Meanwhile,
It's
for
not
what exactly?
collab. It's not collaborating.
No.
Maybe when people ask for collab, you should just like copy and paste like Merriam-Webster dictionary, like what collaboration means, and like just copy and paste that and reply that.
Yeah.
Maybe you should just educate people on like what collaboration means and then be like, I don't have the bandwidth right now for a collaboration.
Yeah. Well, it was like that one email that I got that I sent to you. It's like I kind of did that without doing that. I was like, here's how I define collaboration, and here's why what you're suggesting isn't that. And
Yeah.
again, guess what? I never heard back from them.
And I'm
They
not
didn't respond to my
surprised. No
response.
offense.
I'm not
Like,
surprised either, but I thought maybe it would change the nature of our relationship on Instagram, but it hasn't to some extent. So I'm like, all right, clearly there's no harm, no foul. But at the same time, it's like, but if you had respect for me and what I wrote back, why not just say thanks for considering? Like
yeah.
you or someone on your team could have written back,
Mhm.
taken 2 seconds and responded to my response, right?
How many people are they emailing to try or DMing to try to get free?
Totally. No, you're right. But
Yeah.
that's the part where it's like, if it feels impersonal, I'm not interested. I don't want to collect. And also, if I don't know your values or who you are from Adam, like I need more information in order to feel like I can trust you to work together on anything,
Yeah.
even if
No,
it's
it's just like
minutia.
the constant like take right now.
Yeah,
Give. It's like exhausting. Like that would bother
totally.
me. It does bother me
Does.
when people reach out about like, oh, I have a fantastic guest who's going to fix everything for anxiety. And a lot of times I ignore those, but sometimes I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
tell me more.
Abby's in charge. Abby's in charge of sending the spicy emails to
Yeah.
people
Especially
that
when
reach
they say like,
out.
I love your episodes. I'm like, which one? What did you like?
Yeah.
Just don't
That
lie.
always,
Don't
it's
lie about
crazy.
stuff. Everyone just lies. Anyway, so I can relate to a lot of that. And I mean, I don't get nearly as many collabs, but I can just relate the people wanting free shit, people
Yeah,
wanting,
but you get requests for
yeah, yeah,
uneven things. What,
yeah,
even if it's not on Instagram, like anyone that reaches out to anyone asking for something that is not an even trade
yeah,
is, you
yeah.
know, audacious at
That's a
best.
nice way to put it.
It is the nice way to put it. Because it is, look, I'm not saying I never want to embody some of the, hey, I admire the people that are just like, fuck it. I'm putting my shit out there and see what returns. I feel like it's disingenuous, especially like you said, I'm sure they're sending it to dozens, if not hundreds of people, who knows? But ultimately, that doesn't sit right with me and who I am as a person, as a business
Yeah,
owner, regardless. So yeah, it's hard then to receive that information and not take it personally or be sensitive to it just as a sensitive person.
right,
So I'm working on it. I am working on it. I do feel like I've become more confident in my ability to respond to people that's kind and appropriate and boundaried than I had been previously.
right.
So maybe because I've had to work on it because people keep shoving these DMs in my face, but so I've been forced to work on it. So I guess thanks, universe, for forcing me to work on my shit.
What I'm hearing is you've improved your impression management skills.
Oh, throwback to 2 weeks ago, y'all. I'm obsessed with how obsessed you are with that phrase.
Yeah,
I
it's true.
can't. All
Yeah,
right. Well, thanks for listening.
yeah,
What's going on with you?
yeah. Dear diary,
Dear Anxiety Diary.
my current anxiety is the housing market.
Mm. Ugh. I just got like a ugh,
Yeah,
cringe, whole body cringe.
I so desperately want to move out of the suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
I have been looking on Zillow for like 2 years.
Mm.
And how serious? I don't know, because with 7% interest rate and with people buying their houses at 400,000 and now selling them for 1 million, it's hard to really know how serious I am.
Yikes.
So Dan and I have like looked at a bunch of houses. I've fallen in love with like at least two houses, right? But they are
Yeah.
very overpriced. And then you have to think about, okay, the house that we're in, like Dan was really smart. He bought this like 12 years ago, right? And you got like a really good interest rate and everything. Do we keep this house and try to rent it out, right? Or do we sell this house so that we can get a more expensive house? But like for me, it's really hard to see when someone bought a house 2 years ago for like less than half of what they're charging now. You know that they did some upgrades, but not a lot. And now they're charging over 1 million. Like it's really hard for me to be like, oh, yeah, let me help you make $600,000 in 2 years because of,
Yeah.
you know, you're rich already. So you were able to flip this house. Right.
Right.
So even if I love the house, it's like, so then there's like the constant looking in Zillow of like, okay, how much did this sell the last time and how much are they looking at now? Like, are these actual good people or are they flippers? Right.
Yeah. No, that's true.
So, but now the most recent part that's added to this, because like I need to get out of the suburbs, I need to be around people. I know I will make friends if I can walk around an area. I know that. I know, like, just being around people, I know more opportunities will arise. In the suburbs, it is not like that, right? So I
Yeah.
know that things that affect my mental health will improve by moving. Like, just based on every other time wherever ever I've lived, as long as it's walkable, things work out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Dan was telling some friends the other day, like, oh yeah, we're looking for the housing market. And we're like, we've been looking at houses and this and that. And then one of them was like, don't you want to wait until after the election? And
Oh,
I didn't even think of that. I don't want to wait till November, but also like, yeah, maybe I do because, I can move to Canada. Um it's not a not thing to think about, right? It's
mm-hmm.
worth having some thoughts about what happens in the next election. And so it's just like another thing to think about like,
Mm.
oh, do we get a new house with a 7% interest rate? That's, like all these things. Like, so that's my anxiety diary is the housing market and so desperately wanting to move out of the suburbs and be around people
Yeah,
and just how greedy people are.
they are fucking greedy.
No, it's
It's
really awful when you look at it and they bought it in 2022 for 400,000 and now they're selling it for 1 million. And I'm like, not exaggerating.
no, I know. I've heard I have a few people in my life that are also in the exact same boat as you. Not trying to move from the burbs to like more of a populated or city urban area, but just in terms of like trying to get a house that's fucking reasonable, that isn't like that isn't technically worth as much as they're asking, like nowhere near, but because of the market and the way that it is, they'll probably be able to hold out and wait until someone is able to pay them some fucking cash offer, whatever. So I mean, I witness you and the stress that it must be because we say all the time, Adam and I, how fucking lucky we are that we got into our house, which is, it's a modest 3-bedroom ranch. Like we love it. It's perfect for us in
Yeah.
terms of space. But, and we like the burbs. So there's that. Um, but we acknowledge how much more challenging it's been pretty much every year since 2016 to try to get a new house because like we had good friends trying to get theirs the year after us and it was already a problem. So yeah, it's a problem. It's a fucking problem for a lot of folks. I'm sure that you're not the only warrior, certainly many listening, I'm sure that are in the same predicament or something similar to it.
Yeah.
And
And
so
like,
like
yeah.
yeah. I was
Uh,
just going to ask like what are you aside from just like the mental load of like what to do right versus pre-election post-election, which it sounds like that's kind of a new
yeah,
thought,
new thoughts
newish,
about, yeah.
newish. What's been like feeling hopeful, if anything, about the process? Has anything brought you any joy? Are you working to find joy in house hunting, or is it just joyless?
I mean, it's fun for Dan and I to go out and about and walk around different areas. Like, I think like 2 weeks ago, we looked at 7 or 8 different houses, and like the first six were just crap. They were crap. They were like built in like the late 1800s, right? Like,
Damn.
there was like no, I mean, okay, maybe I'm exaggerating, but it was definitely early 1900s. Like, it was definitely like right around the turn of the century. Like, it was,
Yeah.
they were like old. And like, you can tell like the way the shelves are built into the houses, like it's just
Yeah.
it doesn't have a good flow to it. It's like they're tiny, they're like 1,400 square feet or whatever, 1,200 square feet, they're like pretty small, right? And half of that is like a really crappy basement that's like not
Yeah.
even finished or anything, right? So it's like a
Right.
small, and then it's like $950,000, and like
Oof.
it's like it's so those are like you go through them and you're like, oh, this is exhausting. Or there's some really cool houses that what they did was they refinished the basement to be an ADU, like a dwelling unit. So that instead of having like a 2-story house, they've turned the house into 1 story so that people can rent out the other half of the house so that they can make income because everything's so expensive, people can't afford a mortgage without like cutting their house in half to rent half of it out, right?
Right. Right.
Dan and I have seen some really nice houses, but the thing is, like, to fix it to turn it back into a house and not into an ADU would be too much money. So then
Yeah.
again, it's like just so disappointing.
Mm.
However, in those like 7 that we saw, there was like 2 we really liked. we're not going to pursue them. One was like 1.3 million, right?
My
It was
God.
such a nice house. And it wasn't even that big, like not a mansion, you know? Like when we grew up,
Right.
$1 million house was like a mansion,
For
right?
real.
This was like a 3 bedroom, you know?
Right. It's like three
It-
bedrooms for $1 million. I don't think so.
yeah, yeah. But it was nice.
No.
It was so nice. I loved it. I keep watching to see if they drop. Like a month ago, we found a house we really liked.
Would you put in a lowball offer?
No, I'm gonna talk to a friend um who is a real estate agent. I'm actually gonna see her, I think tomorrow. And I'm just gonna ask her like some stuff. Because yeah, we could put in a lowball offer. Now, this particular house that I really, really like, they bought it like in January for like 1.65.
This
No,
past January?
1.065. Yeah, they bought it recently and now they're moving to Vale.
Okay.
So they're only, maybe it was a year ago. Maybe it was a year ago. Maybe it wasn't months ago. Maybe it was a year ago. So they're
Hmm.
only really like, they only raised it by like 150,000, right? So that feels more reasonable, right?
Right.
They paid a lot for that house, but that house is nice. But anyway, so I don't think they're going to lower it that much because they did.
Sure.
Um, but I am gonna see someone tomorrow and pick their brain a little bit about it. The other thing
Yeah.
about when you're looking at houses is so I don't know if you know about like the real estate, like people took the realtors, like sued the realtor industry.
Oh no.
They were supposed to make their rates negotiable, but like they didn't. And so like the people selling their houses were paying both the buying and the selling realtor each like 3%. So you're like,
Okay.
everyone is jacking up the cost of their house because they have to give pretty much like 10% to two different realtors, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And anyway, the whole like, I don't know what I'm talking about, but the whole realty like agent, like whatever corporation, whatever, basically got taken to court and the court found them as what they were doing was messed up. And,
Yeah.
and people should be able to negotiate their rates on what they pay the realtor. So that might change things and lower it a teeny bit. I don't know. So I'm
Right.
gonna ask her that too. Um, so yeah, it's fun to go on adventures with Dan. It's fun to explore houses. But it's
Yeah.
really disheartening to see like
Right.
crappy ass houses for $1 million.
Yeah. It's so fucking stressful. It's a painful
And then
process
a
from start to finish.
7% interest rate. Like, give me a break.
That's
Like,
batshit.
yeah.
Okay,
Like,
batshit. It's
so
crazy. It really is. I mean,
yeah,
that sounds awful, truly.
yeah.
I do not envy you in that
No.
situation.
No.
I mean, I think just housing in general, housing is a real anxiety for people for a million different reasons.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean,
I,
trying to sell and buy a new home is certainly up there as
right.
well.
Right. Do we keep it? Do we not? Like,
Yeah, right. Because then you're also hinging your future on this big decision, right? It is a big purchase, no matter how you stretch it. Even if you're privileged and have great careers and good money or whatever, that doesn't mean that it's an easy like, oh, well, we'll just buy this one, and if it doesn't work out next year, we'll buy
right,
another one. Like that's just not
right.
that's unlikely for most average families to be able to make that work. So yeah, it sounds super fucking stressful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super stressful. Huh, well, I am sending you new home wishes.
I think we should just pray for like a housing market crash, right? We've already had one. Give us another.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. That sounds like a different kind of stress. I don't know that a full crash is gonna be the best, but
It
I
would
mean,
work
I get why you want
to
that.
get a cheap house, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like even our house, I mean, our house was pretty cheap, all things considered, right? Especially for our school district, but you know, yeah, like Zillow says it's worth like so much more now. And
Yeah.
I don't even think that's true, to be honest with you. Like, even if someone, we talked about maybe selling and getting a new home, but like ultimately decided against it. It's just not the right time right now.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just, but part of the reason why it's not the right time is because I don't want to deal with any of this. All this shit that you're saying sounds awful.
Yeah. It's awful.
Sounds fucking awful. And because, I mean, you're not moving because there's something inherently wrong with your home or your space, right? You're moving because your location doesn't serve you anymore.
Right.
And that's the hard part is if you want to move into a desirable place, people are, know that they can jack up the price
Mhm.
and people are paying clearly. Otherwise, they'd lower their fucking offers.
They are. That's the fun part. It's like fun when you watch and they're like lowered it by 75K and it's like still really
It's
over.
still too much, but yeah.
But you're
They don't
like,
have a choice. They may ultimately not have a choice. So maybe you just have to keep it's a battle of like wills, right? And perseverance, which
yeah,
it's hard to keep that up all the time. Exhausted listening to that.
yeah.
Oh, well, I'm sending you sparkle and shine. You and
Thanks.
Dan and the doggies. I believe. I
Thanks.
believe sooner than later, you're gonna find the right place that's like perfectly priced and maybe the interest rates come down a little bit. Or if they don't, you refinance in a couple of years or something to be able to bring the interest rates back down. But what a nightmare.
Mhm.
What a
Yeah.
nightmare.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
just
Well,
wanna, like make friends. Like
yeah.
I have,
You have
husband.
friends. You want more friends,
I don't
clearly.
really have people that I hang out with. No, that's a different
Okay.
topic. I don't really. No. And well, I'll talk about that more later. But yeah, I don't really.
Mm.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
you're isolated. You feel
ah,
isolated, which
exactly.
makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I
No
have
one
friends
wants to.
in other states.
Not the same thing.
Not the same thing.
Not the same. Yeah, you need physical community.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. All right. Well, that's a happy note. This is what
Yeah.
anxiety and diaries is like. We're just dishing on what's going on with us right now.
Diaries.
Anxiety diaries. Warriors, consider what's happening with you recently. What are some of the random thoughts, random anxious feelings that are popping up, and about what? Is it multiple things all at once? Is it one or two really big things that are consuming your mind and your days? Um, and what are you doing in the interim, right? And during the moments when you're not consumed by those thoughts and feelings
Yeah.
to help support you when you do have to go through those thoughts and feelings.
Yeah.
So, what is supporting you? Anything new? You.
Me.
Yeah.
Anything new? What's
Just like,
supporting me?
I don't know. Do you got any new tools lately?
Oh, I didn't even think we were doing active practice.
We can, go ahead and cut this.
No. All right. What's supporting me? Reading.
Yeah.
Outdoors at the zoo. Yeah.
That counts. The zoo counts. So those are new-ish, although those have been your tools for a little while
Yeah.
as far as like getting your mind away fully. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. You know?
Um, I've been leaning into routine more and more lately. And
Mhm.
so routine has been supportive to me. Like, and I got this new app, which apps are not usually my jam. Abby knows, but for all the warrior, anything tech is just like a hard pass. But a dear friend, somebody that I traveled with recently, recommended an app that is called Finch. And it is and the other ridiculous part is that it feels kind of like a game, which I also hate in my life. And so when I literally got home from my weekend and I had this app downloaded to my phone and I was excitedly telling Adam about it, I mean, just his face was just like so skeptical and confused the whole time I was telling him about this app. And when I was showing him the app, he was like, you did this, you're doing this. Because it's kind of like a game. You
Mhm.
create and set goals for the day, tasks. And when you click them off, you get points and you get to like rack up a certain number of points. And you're like, your little avatar gets clothes or like additions to their room. It's super cute and it's been helping. And the reason why my friend recommended it is because they said that it's been helping with their adult ADHD, which I have. And so I'm used to making lists and ticking things off on paper and pen with paper and pen. But I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, let me give this a try. It's free. You can upgrade or whatever. But I'm like, I'm going to give this a try. And so it's day 4. And day 4? Day 3, technically. I downloaded it on like Sunday night. So today's
Okay.
Wednesday. So full day 3. And it's been kind of fun so far.
All
You get like little affirmations when you open the app. It gives you an affirmation. You can be friends with your friends that are also on the app, like send
right.
each other notes of gratitude or love. So it's like a little, it's kind of like a game, but it's also like a motivating tool for me getting shit done and like being organized.
That's always nice.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's my latest active practice. I
All right.
mean, Finch, look it up, I
Yeah.
guess, if you're into that.
Yeah.
All right, Warriors, time to hear Abby's win of the week.
Win of the week. All right. So I have like three. The first is just a quick one. Uh we're recording today, but this isn't gonna come out for a while. But it is mine and Dan's third anniversary.
Ooh.
So that's a win. We're gonna go have some dinner tonight. And then I have two other wins. So our previous guest, Caitlin from Kind Cotton, did a giveaway, and I won the giveaway.
What? I missed this.
I won it. So I won like a bunch of things, like a shirt and a hat and a mug and a keychain.
Nice.
Um, but she also, like, in it, also her book was included. And it said like books for your school or whatever. So I just thought it was going to be like for the teachers. So I'm talking to Caitlin and she's like, no, I was imagining it being for like every student in a school. And I was
Oh,
like, wow,
in
really?
the giveaway?
Yes.
That's like
So
100 books at least.
like
More?
400.
Damn.
So I was like, whoa, like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this is great. Like, I was so happy opening this DM and just seeing I was a giveaway winner. Like, everyone should just do giveaways, even if the winning is just opening your DM that says you won and you
Yeah.
didn't win anything, right? Like, I just have to tell you, opening my DM and seeing, I didn't know I had all these books, right? So, and seeing like you're the winner, right? I was
Right.
like,
Just seeing winner.
oh, right,
That's it. That's all you need
exactly.
sometimes.
So we should do that. But we should host a giveaway where like the winner just gets some sparkles and shine from us. You know?
Okay.
I would like that. I just to open it up and be like, "Oh, I'm the winner." We'll try it out. Anyway, so I told her I was like, "This is so amazing." And um my schools are just done. Like in Colorado, schools end this week.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
And so I was like, I contract with a few different schools. I could either pick a school or I could give it to my students or I could give it to the teachers. And she was like, whatever you want, you're the winner of this. And I was like,
So you're
what?
just gonna get us stacks of 400 books to the house and have to give them out?
So I reached out to Raina because Raina,
Oh,
our other
yeah.
previous guest,
Our
um,
second guest ever.
is the head of SEL in her school district.
Yeah.
Caitlin's book is about kindness, and they do
Yeah.
curriculum
Oh.
kindness. And Raina was like, oh my gosh, one of the schools is doing curriculum on kindness right now. And anyway, Caitlin is giving Raina a bunch of books and me a bunch of books. So we're splitting the giveaway on the book side.
Okay. So you'll get half and she'll get half. But that's
More like
incredible.
2/3, 1/3. Raina will get more.
But
And
still,
and
you
like,
don't need that many, like
no,
truly.
I'm gonna give it
Yeah.
to my students. I'm gonna give it to the teachers in the school that I work in. And then
Yep.
I'm thinking also maybe I'll give it to the zoo because they have a lot of camps with kids.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And like, what a gift that just keeps on giving. Like, even talking
Oh,
about it now, I have to like,
me
what a
too.
generous gift, right?
Incredible.
And
Truly.
she wants this in the hands of kids, right? And
Mm.
like, so I was able to find a way to get it into the hands of lots of kids, and she was down for it. So that huge win.
Just the fact that she's just like, oh no, it's going to be for the entire school. Like, that is
I know.
crazy.
And I would have, there's
So
already one
crazy.
school that I totally would have given it to, but like they're out for the summer. I don't really want to have boxes of books waiting for me until like September. So it just works out so perfectly.
I
Um,
mean, crazy.
and then I'm so generous. I mean, like
So
Caitlin
kind.
she embodies kindness and generosity, and she's really just a lovely human being. Like I love her. Um,
Totally.
and then the other win is
Let's
so
just shout out Caitlin really quick. Caitlin was a guest on our podcast.
yes.
She was episode 75, Showing Up for Humanity with Caitlin Johnstone. And so check out that episode of our pod. And then also, she has a podcast called The Kindness Is Podcast. And she has an incredible clothing company where every purchase puts the one of her books or one of a book
Yep.
into the hands of a
Inclusive book
child.
into the
Inclusive book into the hands of a child that's deserving, which is all children, but especially kids that, maybe don't have access to books in the same way. And so go support her work at Kind
Mhm.
Cotton on Instagram. So I just wanted to shout that out
And her
before we
clothes
moved
are
on.
really nice. I have two pairs of
Such
pants.
good
They're like
quality
sweatpants.
clothing.
Those are so comfy. I wear them all the time.
Yep.
Multiple shirts that are really
Many
comfortable.
shirts.
Like,
Soft, good quality, correct, true to
mhm.
size. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
her and her husband Kevin own the company, and they're an amazing
they're
company.
amazing human beings.
Go support them
Yeah. Oh, and
ASAP.
Caitlin and I just found out we grew up towns from each other. Like, for
Yep.
real, we just had a conversation and we found out that like her high school played my high school in sports. So like crazy.
Yeah.
Um, and then my other win is I went to a book author event with Luis Miranda, who is the father of Lin-Manuel Miranda. And Lin-Manuel Miranda was there to introduce his dad. And
No
so,
way.
yeah, I have it on video. It's not great. Someone's arm kept getting in the way. But Lin-Manuel was there. He talked for about 2 minutes. And then Luis Miranda came out. He talked about his book called Relentless, and all the like activism he's been doing in New York for years and years and years. He like helped get one of the like charter schools have the first union because a bunch of charter schools didn't have unions, and he like helped this charter school get a union and everything. And like he just, he's worked with Hillary Clinton. He talks about how to get like the Latin vote out. Very interesting, fascinating, sweet guy. Got a picture with him. He signed my book.
Nice.
Very, very exciting. But it was
Awesome.
really exciting. Yeah. And I was hoping to
Fabulous.
meet book friends there, but apparently a lot of people went just because of Lin-Manuel. So,
Oh, that's a
I mean,
bummer.
I get it. I get it.
Sure, but
But like,
then you'd hope that they at least appreciate the
yeah,
man's book.
yeah. And like we're like waiting in line to get our book signed and like we're next to all these used books and I'm like, I want that. I want that. I want that. So I turned to the girl behind me and I'm like, how many times have you had to say no? And she's like, oh, I'm not really a reader. And I was like, what?
That's such a bummer. Weird.
I was trying to make friends. I was trying to,
Ugh.
you know,
I don't like that girl. I don't like those people. That's
I
weird.
know.
That's weird. That's
Right.
weird. Don't be weird. Oh, those are so many wins. Love
Yep.
it. All right, Warriors. Well, thank you for tuning in again this week. If you would like to connect with us for any reason, join our Instagram family, Anxiety Warriors Podcast on IG, or feel free to shoot us an email at anxietywarriorspodcast@gmail.com to shout out your wins of the week, big or small. Share any topic ideas that you have with us, and or if you think you would be a fabulous guest on our show, let us know so we can reach out and get you on the pod. Please take a moment and smash the 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're tuning in right now. You can like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All of our episodes are uploaded for you over there. And if you're feeling super generous, grab yourself something fun from our Threadless merch shop, which is linked in our show notes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Get a shirt from us and a shirt from Caitlin.
Yes.
Be
I
kind to
mean,
everyone.
and they're all good quality. All of our shirts are excellent quality too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you all so much for going on this journey with us. We're grateful to get to do this with y'all.
Till next time.